Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Haley Rosales, and today we'll be going over my presentation of cognition, learning, and motivation. And today we're going to start off with a couple of definitions. The first being cognition, which is the mental action or process of acquiring and understanding knowledge, examples being perceiving, receiving, remembering, reasoning, and judging. Learning is the acquisition of information, behavior, or abilities. Learning involves consciously or non-consciously attending to relevant aspects of incoming information. And motivation is the energy that gives purpose or direction to behaving and operates in human conscious or unconscious levels. And then below I added a couple of graphics that kind of help me understand it a little bit better. Next, we have the learning process. A student must learn cognitive learning to boost their encouragement by pushing them to think more about their thought process, which helps unlock concepts that they struggle with. Cognitive learning they learn will increase their motivation to learn new things with the new way they view not only themselves but also their brain. And whenever I read that, my main takeout of this was when you learn to better think about what you are processing in your brain, when you take the time to really evaluate what you're learning, it gives you a new self-confidence that you'll be able to show that you have learned it better and you're able to grasp it better, which gives you motivation to actually continue your learning process. And what role does cognition play? Well, my main weakness as a college student was the lack of memory and self-esteem in my learning environment, due to the fact that I would forget what I've learned by the end of the semester. When it came to the end of semester exams, it kind of made me nervous, and it really put me down the whole school year because I knew every year it was the same for me, where I would forget what I was learning, and I wasn't able to really show my teacher that I did grasp it at that time because my memory was so loopy that I would forget. But I have learned that was due to my cognitive learning behavior. Due to the lack of self-esteem, I do not tend to allow myself to practice or make mistakes with my professor, which doesn't allow my brain to think in depth of what I've learned. So pretty much, whenever it came time for me to really show them what I have learned, even if I did remember, my self-esteem made me think that I did forget, even though it was in the back of my head. I just had to push it forward. I wouldn't allow myself that time to do that because I'm like, you forgot. How does this affect my learning? Not being able to remember what is being taught in my class affects my learning negatively, since I am rarely retaining information from my class. So when it's time for finals, I have a slim chance of succeeding not only in the class but in the next, because a lot of classes like history or math or science, they build off of each other. So if I forget what I learned in the first class, I tend to not be able to succeed in the beginning of the next class until I'm able to have that teacher or professor sit down with me and explain to me what it is that we've learned. And even if I do remember it, I just need a little refresher to my brain. And most of the time, that's all I need. It's a refresher because I haven't done it in so long that I just need a refreshment to go over it. How does this affect my motivation? The low self-esteem caused by my lack of memory affects my motivation to go to school because I feel there's no point if I would forget what I have learned by the end of the semester. Coming back to college was really hard for me because school has not been my thing because of my memory and everything like that. It's been a real thought process, and if I was going to come back, but I decided to come back and give it another chance. And biological dimensions. As we learn new things, our brain begins to make neurological connections between neurons in our brain. The brain rewires making new connections to adapt to new information. After we have used these connections, it becomes easier to understand, which leads to more motivation doing said task. Some medical diagnoses that can affect the process between cognition, learning, and motivation are the attention disorders, depression, or anxiety, just to name a few. The disturbance comes from a lack of necessary chemicals in their brain, which deprives them of attention, motivation, confidence to perform or learn. And that is the same with me. I do have attention deficit disorder, so it makes it very hard for me to learn, which then causes me to forget because I haven't fully grasped the situation that I have went over, or the concepts that I have went over. And then this is just a little diagram of different cognitive process: the attention, language, learning, memory, perception, and thought. Without one of these, it messes up your whole cognitive learning process. If you're not paying attention, it's going to give you low motivation because you don't know what's happening. And it won't even be from you not wanting to pay attention. It's just from attention deficit disorders or anything like that. Same with language, if there's a language barrier, and if you're not being able to retain your memory and perception of how you view it, you can view it differently than what your professor is trying to perceive to you. And then biological dimensions continued. Some medicines that can help minimize these changes are I don't know how to say that one. Antidepressants, or any medication prescribed by a doctor. So any antidepressants, any ADHD medication, any anxiety medication can minimize those changes, because those are the huge things that can alter your learning abilities, because it's altering the way you're learning. And then here's a couple of my references. These are my references I got my information from, and then these are going to be my references for my pictures. Thank y'all. I hope y'all have a great day.